This is TradeFlow News, bringing you relevant news and insights from around the world. TradeFlow News, enabling trade for SMEs and economies worldwide.
These are some of the key topics that we will be looking into in today's program.
First, let's take a look at the overnight headlines which are impacting the commodity markets.
Saudi Arabia set its flagship Arab light crude oil official selling price, OSP, to Asia at plus $2.40 versus Oman, Dubai average for July. A document seen by Reuters showed on Wednesday. That marks a 50-cent per barrel cut from the June OSP, the first cut in 5 months and towards the lower end of market expectations according to a Reuters survey. Its OSPs for other crude grades sold to Asian customers were slashed by 40 to 60 cents, the document showed. Refining sources expected state oil giant Saudi Aramco to cut its prices in Asia because of falling Middle East crude benchmarks and weaker profit margins for Asian refiners.
Oil prices rose for a second consecutive session on Thursday amid growing expectations the Federal Reserve will cut interest rates in September, but the upside was capped by higher U.S. inventories and an OPEC Plus plan to increase supply. Brent crude futures traded at $78.74 a barrel by 0645 GMT, up 33 cents or 0.42%. U.S. West Texas Intermediate crude futures was at $74.46, up 39 cents or 0.53%. Nearly two-thirds of economists are now predicting the Fed will cut interest rates in September, according to Reuters' May 31 to June 5 poll, offsetting recent bearish supply news.
Moving on to the top news in the energy sector.
Solar accounted for 75% of electricity generation capacity added to the U.S. power grid early this year as installations of panels rose to a quarterly record, according to a report published by Wood Mackenzie and the Solar Energy Industries Association on Thursday. The country's solar industry saw 11.8 gigawatts of new capacity in the first 3 months of 2024 as electric utilities continued their rapid additions of the renewable power sources, the report said. U.S. solar has benefited from the increased availability of panels and from federal and state policies aimed at increasing the amount of clean energy on the electric grid to meet climate-driven emissions goals.
Sweltering heat and policy measures are fueling a surge in the use of gas-fired power in India, with imports of liquefied natural gas, LNG, forecast to rise sharply over the next 2 years, industry officials and experts say. The country's gas-fired power generation doubled in April and May to 8.9 billion kilowatt-hours, kWh, compared with the same period last year. Data from Grid India showed, eating into the share of coal-fueled electricity for the first time since the COVID-19 pandemic. More than 75% of India's power generation was from coal in 2023, while gas-fired plants have accounted for only about 2% in recent years, largely because of the high cost of gas relative to coal. Next, we have the top news in metal markets. Copper prices rebounded on Thursday to trade above a key threshold of $10,000 per metric ton with better demand prospects as investors renewed their bets on U.S. interest rate cuts. 3-month copper on the London Metal Exchange rose 1% to $10,025 per ton by 0711 GMT, while the most traded July copper contract on the Shanghai Futures Exchange gained 0.9% during daytime trade to 81,250 yuan, $11,212.77 a ton. Expectations of Federal Reserve rate cuts in September rose after data this week hinted the U.S. labor market was easing.
Gold prices firmed on Thursday as the dollar and Treasury yields retreated on rising bets that U.S. interest rate cuts may start as early as September, while investors awaited the U.S. non-farm payrolls data. Spot gold was up 0.6% at $2,368.99 per ounce as of 0540 GMT, after rising 1% in the previous session. U.S. gold futures rose 0.5% to $2,388.20. The dollar index was down 0.1%, hovering around a near 2-month low, and benchmark U.S. 10-year Treasury yields lingered near their weakest levels in more than 2 months.
We will now look at the top news in the agricultural sector.
Chicago wheat inched higher on Thursday, after hitting a 4-week low in the previous session on pressure from a rapidly advancing U.S. harvest, with crop prospects in the Black Sea region likely to influence prices in the coming days. Soybeans and corn rose for the first time in 8 sessions, although ample world supplies curbed gains. More price volatility is expected in June as the Black Sea and other regions' crop surveys will be updated, according to a Rabobank report.
That is all for today's news on commodity markets. Stay tuned to TradeFlow News as we continue to provide you with more updates. We also invite you to follow us on Twitter at TradeFlow News, which allows you to watch our program on your mobile device or desktop to receive information from there.